Okay, so we're all here. So, and the audience, please also ask questions if you may. But I think it was super interesting on this last session. We had this keynote that from a site that seems quite simple, but is actually extremely powerful now, embedding AI and AI agents in a mega project Commodate environment. And this will change absolutely everything, and it will just accelerate project delivery, and it literally will save billions and billions in mega project delivery. So I think this is quite exciting. And then we had Kuvi's presentation on also agentic AI and a very elaborate, very realistic digital twins of offices and working environment, and some very groundbreaking presentations from Yeha and Dania. Um, I have a few questions, so I'll start with Kuvi, and I love your presentation because you show the very high level stuff, capabilities and strategy and the value streams that the technology and the information layers can bring. But then you discuss something that I find very intriguing, which is this AI autonomous communities of practice, the potential for that within the metaverse. And I just wonder if you could just remind us of what you think this thing is becoming. Because if you have many agents doing things and informing us and then dealing with I don't know, emergency services and asset management services and this and that, what is this becoming in your mind?
Thank you, Abel. Great question. I think for my point of view, these AI agents are here to help you. They're not here to replace, obviously, IT managers. They're not here to replace first responders. They're here to be our eyes, our ears when we can't be there all the time, because they work continuously. Obviously, unless you have different shifts, as you know, as a company, you may miss things. There may be places where you miss information, crucial information, and then having the AI to be there when you can't be there is it's an added value for any company or any city that is implementing them. So it's a safety net, I will say, for cities or companies implementing these agents. They're not there to replace anybody, as I said, but to amplify the work that these particular, people are doing. And it's important. I mean, we're starting to have AI agents pretty much in the way we work every day. We work with OpenAI and all these different GPTs, and it's starting to be kind of ingrained in our everyday work. But to have an agentic AI to help us deliver a task better, this is new.
Yes, I find this very, very tricky, but also exciting. It's a very interesting thing because there is a fine line there, and eventually some of our positions, and jobs will be replaced, and we'll find something else to do. But because of their very nature, because they are digital and all that, um, it, the scalability of it is quite scary. And then I just wonder what we're gonna find ourselves doing in a few years, in 10 years' time. Are we going to become like just like curators of AI, or are we going to be pets of AI? What's going to happen?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. No, I think, as human mistake is natural. For me, I will envision an AI agent to be there if I make a mistake. If you talk about preparedness, if you talk about healthcare as well, having an AI that will compile all the different diagnostic you can have based on what you say, maybe the color of your skin, some of the symptoms you have, it's an for as I said, it's an added value. So we won't be creators, we won't be the pet, but we will be using AI in a way that will simplify some of the processes we have, and also hopefully make our life easier. And I'm thinking about healthcare, where, for example, if I put some questions, if I go to my GP and I have a specific issue, and they never came across that. But if there's an AI assistant that can compile millions of database, and has a machine learning that is implemented to cater for any type of, we say no race, but any type of ethnicity, that can, amplify the work of the GP. So imagine that as well in a city environment, where the AI can amplify all of the different um, socioeconomic background citizens, and make sure that their voices are also heard. But we need to make sure that we include all of these people into the AI development.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. It's fascinating. And I think, yeah, it's wonderful and it's scary at the same time. So
It is.
it's yeah. So I have a question then for Dania, on your presentation on embedding blockchain in essence common data environments, yeah, for document management and making it sovereign-less and decentralized or distributed. So one thing that popped to my mind straight away is that on your technology pipeline, you said you're using Rust, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you said you're programming your smart contracts on Solidity for Ethereum. Why are you doing that, and why you're using, for example, MetaMask and Solidity and Ethereum when you're programming Rust and you could be using a blockchain like Corda?
That's a very good question, and it does indeed dive into the core technologies of our project. So currently we are in research and development stage, and we are experimenting with different methods that we can implement here. And we chose Rust because it is very efficient in terms of speed, and it is very globally recognized as one of the main languages for this type of problems. And in this case, compared to different methods, we currently just chose this one as our first choice, our first-hand choice, and that's why we didn't really compare it to other languages too. So what we are going to implement further is basically creating the whole architecture and then possibly create a copy of it and see if the results yielded will be different from it. And yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking if you have Rust and if you have Corda, R3 Corda as a blockchain,
Yes.
and if you develop your contracts in Rust or Kotlin or Corda, the wonderful thing about it is, and you cannot do this with Ethereum, not with layer one anyways, you can directly link your blockchain smart contracts with fiat currency bank accounts. So you can
Interesting.
manipulate a bank account for a project using your Kotlin smart contract and your Rust, yeah, smart contract. And my fear is, so I'm asking that because you already have that in your tool chain, yeah, and then you could be doing things that you probably cannot do with Ethereum. But of course, Ethereum is very hipster, very cool. Everybody wants to do something with Ethereum, and I don't blame you for that. But I just wonder if you look into other options out there, because the fact that you can already have manipulate fiat currency cash, like dollars and pounds and euros, using blockchain directly connected with a real world bank account, not a digital wallet, using Kotlin and Corda and Rust, might give you an advantage. Because if you're doing all that work, you have all that beautiful distributed ecosystem for managing documentation and everything else, data in a common data environment for our project, and you can execute your payments from that intelligence. Why do you want to go through Ethereum?
I think it's because of ease of use
Yeah.
and because of the remix, as well as adaptability. Because with current setup, it is easy to push this research further and prepare it as a project that we can already share with people to use. That will accelerate our development further. However, your highlight is indeed also a crucial point, and we can indeed try with Corda too. In this
Yeah.
case, yeah, fiat currencies might be really handful for people to use.
Yeah, because there's very few places in the world people won't object. You know, if you go to there are some very cutting edge places in the world, like pockets of, cutting edge tech, like Singapore. They wouldn't care if you pay them with crypto or if you pay them with fiat currency. They are so ahead of the game, and some business in Hong Kong as well, and there's some places in the world where they do that, like Switzerland. But usually people want fiat currency, but they also want the kind of the qualities and the capabilities you bring with blockchain, right? And then Corda would give you that. And then I think Corda can also manipulate Ether if you want. So it's just I'm just saying, I'm just suggesting, have a look, because you can bring a lot more to the table. Because, for example, in a UK construction project, if you try to pay people with Ethereum, or in France, that wouldn't happen. People just say no, no way, but yeah, it's something that may give you an advantage. But I think it's super interesting. And I think the other thing that is super interesting is, like, a few years ago, back in 2021, I developed a plugin for Autodesk Construction Cloud using also MetaMask and Ethereum to run requests for information, RFIs, in the blockchain. And I demonstrate this in the Autodesk University conference back then in Düsseldorf. No, sorry, in Frankfurt. And that back then was kind of a novelty. But if you have like a device within your system to gather information from the stakeholders using your system, and then you create that chain, that would be also very powerful. So if you have your RFI mechanism or some other mechanism for just creating a thread between the decision-making process between stakeholders, that would be, and linking this to different aspects of a project or the enterprise, that would be quite cool. And you're probably working on that. So I just wonder what your thoughts are in that respect.
Okay. So you said that using RFI mechanism thread, we can link stakeholders and different aspects like of enterprises. And in this case, we are going to first gather all information internally. So our system manages to do it with a blockchain audit trail component already. And that's why we're kind of compiling a list of commits firsthand, and then we can either switch and make them as not really as blockchain commits, but as regular commits, and store them in our own storage. And then we can transfer all of that compilation all together at the same time and create one common blockchain audit trail. For other processes, we believe that we can link other entities by registering them in our own system. So it is going to be semi-decentralized in this case.
Yeah. Or if you are, and then there are different ways to implement that. I mean, you need to look at your information architecture to implement that in a way that makes sense to the capabilities you're generating with your system. But I think it's super interesting. and my advice is keep going. And if you want, please get involved with the Construction Blockchain Conference as well on the 22nd of November. So I'm also chair of that conference. So there's a lot of blockchain stuff going on there. And then we're going to have a few lawyers in the room talking about the consequences of all of that. Because for lawyers, this is really disruptive, yeah, and for project managers and contract administrators. So yeah, I'll just say keep going because it's a very promising field. And then the question I have for Yehad Kim is integration. Is really about integration with the business intelligence layer. So you have this amazing kind of agent-based, probably cellular automata, right? Agent-based system. And then you can generate those results very quickly. I just wonder how you linking this back to the enterprise business intelligence. What sort of interfaces you're thinking about, and what is going to stay in your system, and what you want to integrate with a business intelligence for an enterprise.
Yes, so I had a few thoughts about this. So just some preliminary thoughts. So initially looking at how I utilize MATLAB-based Bayesian network simulations, I was thinking about we could sort of create like a MATLAB-based like Bayesian network engine as like a real-time inference service within a cloud-native data pipeline. So I looked at a little bit at Apache Kafka and Spark, but didn't really go too deep into it. So this is where where live feeds from like Barcelona's like Centilla, like IoT platform as an example, or like smart meter like telemetry, or like mobile network like CDRs continuously update like agent states and conditional probability tables. Now, obviously, we'll probably have to build like a better like hybrid engine using Markov chains and Bayesian networks. But I guess the business intelligence layer could be built on tools like Tableau or like Power BI or like custom Streamlit like dashboards. And then I guess the tricky bit is like visualizing the key performance indicators, such as projected like latency heat maps or like energy cost trade-offs, and then infrastructure utilization forecasts. So I guess we might be able to do that using dynamic Pareto like frontiers, and then enable urban planners and like telecom executives to I guess adjust their policy weights depending on that. But yeah, I haven't really looked too much into the business intelligence layer yet.
Yeah, because that would, and I'm saying this because this session is very much about applications, right? So that would give you also a commercial advantage. From the moment you create that link, let's say you just create a link to Power BI, and make it easier to have that interoperability. So they can then, whatever business intelligence is being developed, they can add your simulations and your results on the top of that. And then the KPIs probably, I don't think if you, at this stage, would make sense for you to kind of have your own KPIs. You leave this to the project strategy team and the ESG team, the environment sustainability team, and they will have their own KPIs. But if you can conciliate your metrics with their metrics, then they can create that value. And then that would be very, very useful application for them to have. But the key thing is having that interoperability. That would be super useful. Yep. And I know you've been working on this for a year, maybe two?
Nearly a year and a half, I'll be honest.
Yeah. So I know. So I know it's work in progress. But from the moment you demonstrate that collaborative workflow, that channel of interoperability, then I think lots of good things might come your way, because then any business will see the value of bringing your analysis into the business intelligence. And then I have one final question for Akuvi, and that's something that just popped to my mind now because we're discussing all of that. Is And it's not a question, it's more like just a thought. And I think, in fact, it's for the three of you, because you have all these AI agents and agent-based simulations happening. And as we've just seen, we have a absolutely major Commodate environment for mega projects, also deploying agents, AI agents, yeah? And that, I'm not exaggerating when it is just that is going to save us billions and billions of pounds. Yeah, just that AI agent functionality within a mega project Commodate environment. So that's really amazing stuff. But the thing is that those agents, they learn a lot, and that they get to know us, and that they can profile us. And I just wonder, and I'm not even concerned with GDPR, GDPR will solve that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But my concern is, can then the AI agent somehow become a form of a digital passport of ID, or an ID, a personal ID? I mean, and I'm just throwing this, in the space to see what you think. Because they, more than anyone, know who you are.
It's a very interesting question. Yes, I was going to say GDPR. I haven't thought about that. I suppose
that is a
it's
separate can of worms, and it's a
this is
very
no. We should
yeah.
close that down quickly. It's don't give them ideas. Yeah, it's
Because I'll just say something like from professional practice. One of the key things that it's becoming a blocker at the moment is how we create a robust digital passport for people and for assets. How we create that robust digital passport that is universal, that works with everything, that just like with a great level of certainty can prove who you are or assets you have in your business or in your project. It doesn't break and is also cyber secure. So what is that thing? I don't know. And then you have those agents that pretty much know what you're going to be doing tomorrow afternoon better than you do. So how do you put the two together?
yes, for us at BizTech, really, the way we, and I'm gonna bring the metaverse into the equation, because we also use blockchains. So we work with, for example, there's a project with Ukraineverse where we work on helping to redevelop and rebuild Ukraine, and blockchains are in part of the equation. So we want to create a metaverse that's obviously open to everybody, but secure enough for people to have transactions, for city to, to have a digital twins of a city, and for citizens also to maybe tomorrow start having their city operations there. So going to maybe to use City Hall within the metaverse and order a parking permit, for example. You can do that in UK. So I get what you say in terms of, data privacy and how we're gonna deal with that if we have digital passports, digital ID for an asset. Having a digital representation of an asset that is guaranteed to be immutable in the metaverse, I think is very important, because obviously assets can get lost. If you have documentation, paper trail can get lost. I think Phil earlier was talking about over thousands of hours that you need, or hundreds of hours you need to read a 500 word document, 3 hours at a time. So imagine if you accumulate that by, I don't know how many documents you need just for one building. So if you condensate all this and you have the help of the AI agent and the metaverse to help you create digital assets of what you're trying to build, but also using the digital agents, the AI agent, to foresee any error that you may have made as a human, because we may need sleep, we may be sick, whatever reason, we make mistakes. But if you have a digital agent, which is an AI agent that can see all these mistakes and prevent you from having a catastrophic mistake, I will take this positive. But obviously that keeps the life of the asset. And there's something that when I was doing research a couple of months ago for another panel, there's an island in Vanuatu, I think, that is on the verge of disappearing because of the the rise of water, and they decided to make a digital twin of the island, because they're thinking that if physical space disappears, at least they have this legal entity, which is the digital twin of the island, is still there, and they can still operate as a nation. And yes, there's risk, obviously, like anything. When the internet started, people were saying, "Oh my God, the internet is there. What are we gonna do?" Then the iPhone came. So I think as humans, hopefully, we will find ways to also not abuse, but we need safeguards. We need to have safeguarding points and measure. And for me, having as many people as possible working on AI agents, this is where we can make sure that there's no hopefully there's no we don't have this idea of somebody will use AI agents against the mass.
Yes, I think they will. I mean, someone
They
we're
will
gonna have
try,
some
yeah.
bad they'll
Yeah,
have some bad agents out there that will do bad things, and
sure.
and then we always have that. But if you put, for example, your 3 presentations, and if you take, the positives of each presentation and put in a scalar and put the bad things on the other side of that scalar, the positives win by far. It's definitely worth to do it. There is no looking back. We should be doing that, but we need to mitigate what bad agents will do, because they will do. If
Sure.
there is a chance for some bad agents to do something bad, that is going to happen. They will try to do it because there are people like that out there. But we just need to make sure we have a good enough system that contains bad agency. But I think it's super interesting. I just wonder if someone else from the audience have any final questions. If you do, you can just switch on your camera or your microphone and ask straight, or you can put it on the chat. Then I'll read it for you. And if don't, okay, so I'm noting the time. If don't, then I just want to thank all the speakers, the keynote speaker, Akuvi, and the presenters for their wonderful research and visionary propositions. I think there is a lot to unpack on the applications you described today, and the potential is absolutely immense. And I think they are so big that we still kind of processing this in our heads to understand how valuable this is a gold mine, so to speak. And we don't know how big that gold mine is. It's probably very, very big. And I just, humbly try to encourage you to keep going as far as you can and as fast as you can. Hopefully next year we will try to organize a business session. And then we want to line investors with startup leaders, with governments, with academia, government agents and academia, to try to make things happen, to operate the conference as a catalyst. So I thank you so much for your great presentations.